So we are continuing the next question. The researcher manager selects two random samples of ovens of a certain type to estimate the average amount of time this type of oven takes the preheat to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, and the researcher manager records the amount of time over each oven takes preheat. Based on the first sample, the researcher manager estimated the type of oven takes an average 40.2 minutes, okay, to preheat, and the associated margin of error of 1 minute. What does it mean, margin of error? So you have time, it's 40.2 minutes. Margin of error means plus minus 1. So it means you can get less or more than 1 minute. So the next moment, based on the second sample, the research manager estimated his take on average 14.4 minutes. And this with the margin of error 2.3. That means 2 first and second plus minus 2.3 minutes. Assuming the margin of error were calculated the same way, which of the following best explain why the first sample obtained smaller margin of error than the second sample? So margin of error is the meaning of margin of error, meaning if you have more information or more raw data, you can get more precise data. If you use the same way of calculating for two cases, so for the first case you have n ovens, for instance, and here in m ovens. They are not equal. They didn't say about the number of ovens they have. So, but they have two random samples of ovens, and that means if n greater than m, in that case only the margin of error will be more precise than the second. So I think the answer is B, because the number of elements in the dataset always impact the margin of error, standard deviation, and so on. Next one. Kenny engages in up to 3 types of exercise each week for a total 6 hours while training for triathlon. Oh my, not bad. This just my default week, 6 hours of training in triathlon. Kenny swings for the same number of minutes each week. The equation of y 360 minus x minus 170 represents the situation where Kenny bikes for x minutes during the week and runs for any remaining training time y in minutes. Not bad. If this equation is graphed in xy plane, which statement is the best interpretation of the x-intercept of the graph? So x-intercept is when y is 0, so you don't have any running. So that means 360 minus x minus, I need to change the language. Again, not writing, why? Actually, I have new keyboard and I'm just getting used to it. So we have here 190. During the week, when Kenny does not run, he bikes for 190 minutes. Okay, during the week, Kenny doesn't bike and he runs for 190 minutes. And each week, Kenny bikes and runs for a total 190 minutes, which is not true because we have y as a remaining time for training, for run, or for any remaining training time. During the week, when Kenny swings for 190 minutes, he bikes for 170 minutes. Not bad. So the meaningful moment of the equation y 360 minus x minus 170 means y is 190 minus x. So if you have x-intercept, again, as I said, y is 0. That means he does not run. Anyways, he doesn't run. So answer C and B is not possible because he didn't run anyway. And during the week, Kenny doesn't run. He bikes for 190 minutes. And the x, Kenny bikes for x minutes. Here is the moment of the truth. The x minutes bikes. That means the answer is A, because x is just slightly about the biking. So nothing about swimming. Next one. One of the factors of the given polynomial is x plus b. where b is a positive constant. What is the smallest possible value of b? Okay, so we can solve it by Desmos. Just graph the function like 5x cubed plus 105x squared plus 540x, and you will get the precise answer like y. Let's get y, the function. So let's see the answers. If you have x-intercept, that means it's your solutions. So we have 3 points. 3 points where the first solution is minus 12, the second one is minus 9, and the third one is 0. So we can write it like this, 0. So what is the smallest possible value of b? Tricky question, because if you see here by the x it's minus 12, but the answer so says 0, because the smallest possible value, because if x plus b, this b is positive some number. 19, the function given gives a toy car height above the ground x seconds after it starts moving the elevated track, where x between 0 and 10. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the vertex of the graph of the xy plane? So we have here the a, like constant coefficient a greater than 0 means parabola is smiling, quadratic function is smiling, and we have as a vertex minimum point, it's minimum, so it's 6 and 4, and the toy car's minimum height was 4 inches above the ground. The toy car's minimum height was 6 inches. No, it's not true, because we are talking about something like by the y-axis, yes, and the x is a time, and the 6 is about time. The toy car's height was 4 inches above the ground when it started moving. When it starts moving, we don't know, because it's not always about the it's not always about the point when it starts moving. The vertex always is a midpoint, the point of middle of parabola. That's why I suppose no. Strange. So, and the toy car's height was 6 inches above the ground when it started moving. So again, when it start moving, no, it's not true, because when it start moving, we have x is 0, and you can get the vertex, it's somewhere there. So the answer is A, just by the method of elimination. The function f defined by the a, b in the power of x over n, where a and b constants and n, and they are integers. If f of 2 is 6 and f of 5 is 162, what is the value of f of 7? Prepros question. If you solve Prepros book, you will know how to handle this. We have this type, and I can write like, or just make a table, or just let's make a function the same way by the equivalence like this, and just create table. Okay, if you have x1 and y1, like if I have x2, I will get y6. If I get x5, I will get y162. And let's see for the f of 7. It's 1458. That is the answer. So we have here 21st question. The square map has a side length 45 inches, and 1 inch on the map represents the distance of 13 miles. Okay, as I wrote here. And we have the square, which goes to 70% shorter than side length, and get the 13.5. That means the scale factor, if you compare the length of new divided by length of old, like 13.5, and get 45, we'll get something like 0.3. It's just divided. As I wrote here, in order to calculate, it's 0.3. The same as if I get 45 multiplied by 0.3 is a 13.5. So 0.3 is a scale factor. Let's call it K. And if you have 13 miles. That means 1 inch is 13 miles, and I need to multiply the 13 miles by the scale factor 1 over k. So this reverse the scale factor and get the actual distance. So that means 1 over 0.3, and I need to calculate it. 13 multiplied by 1 divided by 0.3, and get the 43.3333, something like that, and the answer is D. The very, very tricky question if you don't know how to convert. The next one with the circles. So we have circle A, circle B, and the given equation P is a positive constant. Which statement correctly compares the graphs of the circles A and B in XY plane? Okay, we need to compare. We have circle A, something like, and if we look up, maybe here should be the sign of square, and P is a positive one. Which statement correctly compares the graphs? So the circle B is a reflection of the circle A. Circle B is a reflection of across the x-axis, y-axis, and the B is translation, and units up to the right. Okay, let's check. We can just graph it in order to understand. So here second plus y minus p in the second power, and the 21. Okay, let's get p as a 1. It's not a problem, it's not a big deal. So we have x plus 7 squared plus the same y minus p squared, and it's also 21. Okay. So what do we have? We have the same radius, yes, the same radii, to be precise, the same radii, and the points, as you see here, the same by the y. But for the x, if you get here this point and this point, we have some differences. Okay, so this is the moving. I have the function, general function here, and then I got to the B, or the circle B. This is the second circle. Yes, if I have here the second circle, I need to find the circle B is the translation to the 14 units up. No change in the y-axis. That's why the answer C is not correct. Need to consider more. The circle B is a translation to circle 14 units to the right. So units to the right means you need to go to this side. So the x value here should be changed. So I suppose the answer D is also under the question. We don't know exactly why. Why I'm saying that? Because the P value may be different, and something will change by the moving, but not by the translation to the right. That's why also D is not correct. So circle B is a reflection of circle A across the y-axis. Yes, we do not change anything by the y-axis. That's why the circle B is a reflection. So that is the answer is A. If you don't change something in the axis by y or x, that means that is the reflection, and you don't have any values when the circle B is a translation of circle A 14 units to the left. Yes, if it's moving to the left, yes, okay, it's answer, but in this case it's B because the reflection on the y-axis.